This is the Morning Rush. The Morning Rush with Travis Justice and Heather Burnside. This is 1460 KXNO, Des Moines Sports Station.
Hour number 2 of the Morning Rush. Good to have you along. I'm Travis Justice. She's Heather Burnside. He's Sean Roberts. We got him locked up in the studio today.
Right.
We are live at the Williamville Sportsbook for the first day of legalized sports.
Got a lot of love, but I didn't actually get on there, but I got talked
just
about.
to let you know, we do miss you. You are very well missed.
Thanks, man.
Sean. Okay.
What's up?
Did they ever figure out the blinds there, the Woody Show?
I don't know how you interrupt
Did you
the national
take
show,
any-
but right now they did close the blinds, except for they didn't close them all the way, so the sun's literally still staring me in the face. They just
Hey, Sean,
what's up?
we did get an answer to your question too about the sports ticket. If you need it. Okay, so the best way to prevent that, you do need a ticket if you make a bet and if you don't have your wager ticket. But if you sign up for the free William Hill Sports Rewards card, that tracks every bet that you made, and that would be validation that you placed the bet. So does that make sense? So if you don't,
is that a credit card or is that just
what's that a credit?
No,
points
you're
card?
setting up.
Like a Windigo card.
Yeah.
Okay.
They should have put me on the mic, though.
Yeah.
He just said it was free.
That's all
Yes.
good.
So if you sign up for the free William Hill Rewards card or app or whatever, then that will track your bets, so you don't need to keep track of your physical ticket. And if you make a bet on the app, obviously that is going to track your bet as well. But if you make a bet and you're not signed up for that rewards program in person with cash, then you're going to need the ticket.
Yeah. Let's talk some more gambling, because I've been talking gambling with this guy, God, maybe 10, 15 years. Scott Spreitzer is a professional handicapper in the state of Las Vegas. He's from the Midwest. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's been a friend of this show for a long time. Scott, how big of a day is this? Because you've been promoting legalized sports gambling across the country for a long time. How big of a day is this for Iowans in the state of Iowa?
Well, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's and by the way, thanks for having me on, and it's good to talk to you guys. And Travis, I think we go back probably close to 20 years when you were having me on radio shows when this stuff was supposed to be kept under wraps, So it's kind of funny that things have changed in the last 15, 20 years. It happened as fast as it has. So, it's a pretty big deal. I was doing a show, you guys know about VSEN, the network out here in Las Vegas that is on satellite radio, and I was doing a show on Friday, and one of the guests that we had on, who happened to be in town, was a bettor from the Chicago, Illinois area. And he was already talking about how great it was going to be he was going to be able to get over to Iowa to make some of his wagers and do it that way. So it's a big deal. There's going to be a decent amount of betting and an influx into the state from people around surrounding states, not just Iowa, who are going to want to take advantage, who don't have legalized betting yet in their states.
Scott Spreitzer joining us on the WCI Wilson Spas Hotline. Scott is a professional handicapper, professional gambler. He took off for Las Vegas, when you were 22 years old, or were you a teenager, Scott?
17, right out of high school. Came out to Las Vegas.
So you've been doing this a long time, because you're 50 now, or in your 50s now. I don't mean to date you, but if people are new to this or a novice to this, what would be your plan of attack? So in Iowa now, you can come to the book, or you can sign up via the app and bet via the app. But as you attack this, to make sure, because a lot of people worry about, addiction.
Nebraska minus 36.
Doing more than you can. What would you tell somebody as they start their sports betting journey?
Well, you got to bet with your head, and I would recommend the app. It's a situation where you can get involved in games, and if you do math in your head real fast, you can, bet games in line. I'm assuming that they're going to have that in the state of Iowa. If not right now, if not right off the bat, then it'll eventually be there. But yeah, definitely you want to get the app. You want to pay attention to line movement. But I've always told people forever, never bet obviously over your head. Only bet money that you can afford to lose. Because I don't care how good you are, you're going to have a stretch where you go 10 and 20, 5 and 15, and it ain't going to happen just once. It's going to happen several times over the course of the years where you just can't get anything to go right. You could have games that are going to fall your way as far as your handicap is concerned, but then something weird is going to happen in the final minutes and you're going to lose that wager. It happens to all of us, and you have to be able to deal with it. I also tell people if they're going to be putting a little bit more money into this than just entertainment money, you have to have a separate betting bankroll that's completely separate from the money that you use for your bills, your family, everything else. Got to be two separate deals there, because you don't want to all of a sudden dip into that money that you use for your kids or your bills or your kids' college tuition and so on, and never, ever cross over that money. Trust me, you never do that. So it's a situation where you got to be extremely disciplined. And if you're not a disciplined type and you've never been a bettor, I would say steer clear of it unless you're doing it from an entertainment standpoint, which means, the occasional, $10 parlays, $20 bets when you're watching Monday Night Football with a buddy or whatever. But
25, 50.
Discipline means everything, and all I can say is a lot of people don't know if they can handle it
Maybe
until
$100 straight bet.
and that's what they got to be careful of.
If I got the money to lose.
joins us on the Morning Rush 1460 KXNO. I'm assuming too that I was just sitting there looking at the odds for, like, say, the Cubs to win this year's World Series. There's also a couple of different kinds of betting that you can get into where you could come in, and this is kind of fun to read about, where you hear about the guy that bet on, a team to win the Super Bowl at long odds, and then it ends up happening and they collect a big paycheck. So there are also different types of gambling, like on the results of today's game versus the long term, where you're talking about its team success or who's going to win the Super Bowls. Yeah, futures, stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love that kind of stuff, and I always tell people, you can, if let's say you're going to be a person who wants to bet just 20, 30, 40, maybe $50 a game. If you just want to have some fun with the season, you can go into those futures. You can take a shot at a team at, 20 or 30 to 1. And if you have a $20 bet on them, you just turn that into $400, $600, depending on if those odds were in that 20 to 30 to 1 range. And you can have fun with that bet all season long. We just saw a person out here in January who was on vacation from St. Louis. He bet on the St. Louis Blues when they had the worst record in the NHL on January 1st, and he turns that into tens and 20. What do you have? $104,000, I think he won, or something crazy like that, off a couple $100 bet. So you can do things like that and turn them into incredible returns with your money. What I tend to look to bet more is just individual game betting. Like I look at a Saturday college football slate, and of course I'm putting more money than the average person will on these games, but I'll look at that slate and I'll say, okay, I might have 15, 16, 17 individual games bet on a Saturday in college football and college basketball. I don't do any parlays. I tell people all the time, if you have, that desire to go and do this for entertainment purposes and you just want to throw $10 on a 10-team parlay, take a shot at it, go for it. But if you're truly doing this as a bettor, as a professional bettor, stay away from parlays, stay away from stuff like that, because the books want you to bet 5-team parlays and 8-team parlays and things of that nature, because they know they're going to beat you most times. So it's just one of those things where you got to be real careful. Bet individual games, I tell people all the time, and that gives you your best chance to, get a bang for your buck over the course of the entire season. But certainly getting involved with futures, that's a blast. You're not going to put a lot of money on that. You put a few bucks here and there, try to find some mid-range odds in that 20 to 1, 30 to 1 range, and go have fun with it throughout the course of the season.
So, we tend to think of basketball, football. Where's their money to be made? Do you think that people, what's the best sports bet? Is it baseball? Is it hockey? Is it NASCAR?
Yeah.
What are some things that people may not realize? Hey, there's analytics out there that support your odds are pretty good at winning.
It's funny, Travis, because it's changed so much. If you listen to you and me doing radio in, let's say, 2002 compared to 2019, there's so many differences nowadays from what it was back then. Major League Baseball is managed so differently now than it was 10 years ago, where you got to all of a sudden take into effect that you've got a starting pitcher who might be pitching well in the 5th inning and gets yanked and gets removed. So what I tend to do more now than I've ever done in my betting career has been like first 5 inning plays in Major League Baseball and eliminate most of what you're going to see throughout the final half of a baseball game. And you'll be able to do that in Iowa. You'll be able to bet first 5 innings. So you're eliminating a lot of the bullpen stuff and the craziness of the final 3 or 4 innings that we see nowadays with the way the games are managed. I think the NFL, to me, is the most beatable. I know this is going to sound crazy to some. I used to think the NFL was the hardest sport to beat. At this point, to me, the last 5 years, it's the more beatable. That doesn't mean it's easy. It's just the most beatable sport I think there is, along with NASCAR matchups, head-to-head matchups where they'll have, maybe Kyle Busch against Martin Truex Jr. on a certain track, and they'll have odds up for that. Minus $1.30 you might see, let's say, on Kyle Busch, which means if you like him, you got to lay $13 to win 10. If you like the other side, plus $1.20, you put down $10 to win 12. And that's changed since you and I first started talking, Travis, because I used to be heavily into betting to win drivers, drivers to win NASCAR races at certain tracks.
There
with
it
the
is.
change of the cars, the change
Drunk.
of the setups, the changing of the teams, all that kind of good
Drunkabus.
stuff. I'm 100% matchups now. I never bet certain
Yeah.
drivers to win races. So
The crazy
it's
bald
really
head's gonna
changed just over
be
the
a
way
weed
things are
attorney.
coached, the way things are managed. And because of that, you just have to kind of change with all these things that have taken place over the last few years. But again, most people are going to go and bet with their heart. NFL, college football, college basketball, and that's where they get into trouble the most.
Scott, analytics big in sports now, but I would say you've been doing analytics since you got into this business. I've made the argument that sports betting is where you can make the most informed decision. You're not going to win every time. We know that. But when I look at slot machines, poker, blackjack, the analytics that you get in sports, is this really where you get the most informed information out there if you do the work to make a smart bet?
Absolutely. Because, listen, if it was up to the casinos in Las Vegas, there would not be a single sports book in this city.
Fucking read from
What they would be
Meadows
doing
here.
is they would be putting penny slot machines up where the sports books are, because they'd be just
Smoking
churning out money like
marijuana
crazy.
is actually healthy.
To say it's 10 times more profitable
Vaping
for a
that
casino
crap
to put
and
in a few
shit
banks of
probably
penny
isn't.
slot machines over a sports book is the understatement of the year. They just make so much more money on slot machines than they do when it comes to sportsbook betting. Their hold is generally in that 4.5% to 5% range, where it's just ridiculously bigger than that when it comes to the other games, the table games, the slot machines, especially the slot machines. So your best chance to win is sports betting, yet it's extremely difficult. You have to hit 52.3% in sports betting, with the VIG being about minus $1.10, so like 11 to win 10. You have to hit 52.3% to break even and show a small profit, with that being the case, the 11 to win 10 scenario. And I know that doesn't sound like much. It ain't easy. And a lot of people have tried, but at the same time, as you just mentioned, it is the best way you can make money in a casino over all of the games. And again, you can have any honest casino operator in the state of Nevada.
Rock Island,
and
Pot Central
you
coming.
ask them what they would like to do, they'd say wipe out the sports books, put in penny slots.
Well, that's not the way. That's the way it is here, man. We are all in on the sports book, the William Hill sports book. Before we let you go, and by the way, I appreciate you getting up because it's 5:14 Vegas time, I believe. Iowa State. You know we were going to ask you, so you had to answer there, right?
Well, you got over under wins total. Here's the future talk for you. Over under wins total on the Hawkeyes 7.5.
Legalize
Over
Des
under
Moines.
wins total on Iowa State is
Marco
8.
Battaglia.
And obviously the question marks. You guys know what they are for the Iowa Hawkeyes. You lose a couple of stud tight ends. You got a defensive line that you're going to have to be able to pick up the slack from last year. But what I like about the Hawkeyes is they've got maybe the best pass rusher in all of college football. So when you see these lost starters and these lost players, key players in the top two strings on both sides of the football, I think it's a little bit overblown with this team. That road schedule could be brutal this year for the Hawkeyes, but I still think, and by the way, the juice is on the over. It's 7.5, and you have to lay $1.30 if you like the over. But I think that's the way to go with the Hawkeyes this year. I do think they win at least 8 games. They just got to keep from slipping up against a team, let's say, like Penn State and Purdue. I believe that's back-to-back home games about midseason, and that's a team that can beat Penn State. If they do so, don't slip up the very next week and let a tough win over Penn State beat you against Purdue, so to speak. I think it's an 8-win team at the very least. I like over with the Hawkeyes at 7.5. Cyclones are going to be good guys, but I think 8 is spot on. I think it's too tough to make a call on the Iowa Hawkeyes at over or under 8 wins. I think that's right where it should be.
All right, Scott, I won't tell everybody here in Iowa that you're Huskers, so we'll talk about that.
Eh.
Well, I am from Omaha, so there you go. But, there'll be a lot of Omahans who you'll be glad to be taking their money when they cross over the bridge into Council Bluffs, right, to make their bets. So there you go.
Exactly. All right, buddy. Thanks. It's always good talking to you. I'll follow up with a person phone call later today. We'll chit chat a little bit.
Sounds good. Travis, Heather, have a great one. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
Not
Scott.
a problem. Thanks, Scott. Scott Sparcher joining us live from Las Vegas. He's so smart. I love having him on. He's such a cool dude. And again, legalized sports betting kicks off at noon today at the William Hill Sportsbook at Prairie Meadows. 284-5966. Interact with us on Twitter at KX in the Morning Rush. We come back. Special guest. We're graced with TV personalities.
Right. Are you going to sit there and talk about some of the things that we've talked about when it comes to TV personalities? Their obsession with state fair food?
Absolutely.
All of that?
Because I guarantee Maria is actually happy to be here instead of the state fair for the 50th day in a row. I could be wrong. Look, she's shaking her head.
Okay.
I'm going to ask her about her Instagram account.
I was hoping for that, too.
It's the Morning Rush on 1460 KXL.
Continue the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. Search for 1460.
If it's alternative music you want, then listen to the new Alt 1063.
For the latest on the Hawkeyes, Cyclones, Panthers, and Bulldogs, keep it here. 1460 Company. It's the Morning Rush with Travis Justice and Heather Burnside on Des Moines Sports Station 1460 KXNO.
You know, when Maria Lizagoli first started at 13, we gave her a hard time. You know, gave her a really hard time.
You did.
And she was a good sport.
Well, and
We tried to picture her. Yeah, I thought you were.
Thank you.
I thought you were. We tried to picture him as Sean, but you were smart and stayed away from that.
Sean's a good guy.
No, he's not.
oh.
He is.
Trav, why do you
Sean,
think
you're
you're
just not here.
Because he's, unlike, I guess you're not sitting next to him. I have to sit there and listen to him give me a hard time, and I'm sitting literally right next to him. At least you're back in the studio.
There's distance.
Yeah.
There's distance every day. This is a rare occurrence. That's why Maria was like, "What are we going to talk about?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just felt like we should have her. She was here. I thought we should just have her sit down because she was such a good sport. She did come in the studio that one time, but that was
A couple times.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've been
This is the first time
radio
you and I
with her.
Yeah. We've never met
in
before.
person. Good to meet you.
Yeah,
So serve it up, Travis.
serve it up. Well, first of all, are you happy when you went to work this morning and said you're not going to go live at State Fair? Were you happy?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you get sick of that, right?
I mean, it's great. It is. It's a fun. You look forward to it every year, and then you get there, and it's hot, and there's a lot of people, and I just. You go home and you kind of just want to bathe in Purell.
Oh, yeah. You feel dirty. That's why I refuse to go anymore.
Right, exactly.
So you're Minnesotan. What's better, the Minnesota State Fair or the Iowa State Fair?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, she called me dude. She called me dude.
The Minnesota State Fair is pretty great, but it's pretty comparable to the Iowa State Fair. Truly.
That's pretty non-committal.
Actually,
I know.
You know what though? Considering she's from Minnesota, I thought she would have said Minnesota State Fair hands down.
Yeah.
Boom, like just that quick. So the fact that she's even able to say that the Iowa State Fair compares, because I know I'm from Iowa and I would never say that the Minnesota State Fair is better.
Right.
Or even
what's
comparable.
the difference? I mean, do you have butter cow? Do you have, what does Minnesota have that Iowa doesn't have? Just national
butter, Paul Bunyan? No, I actually don't know. Truly, it's been a while since I've been to the Minnesota one, but the Minnesota State Fair is a little bit bigger. There's like I remember a crazy haunted house at the Minnesota State Fair that just killed me when I was a kid.
Good.
I died in that house. I'm a ghost right now.
Oh, really?
So
I can see what you're like a hologram. I can see right through
mm-hmm,
it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I follow you on Instagram. I got to ask you. You don't have adult acne. You were putting like cream all over your face last night.
Oh, you saw that?
You know, like adult acne or cream. Like this girl shows everything.
Oh yeah, I don't care. Oh my gosh, why not?
You can't. You're right.
There's so much.
Human.
Exactly. I mean, you look at my Instagram feed, and it's absolutely like a highlight reel of my life. It's just the best pictures. But that's not reality, Last night I had a bunch of pimple cream on my face, and I just decided to display it.
See, you don't do that.
I don't.
When you have cucumbers on your eyes and you get the facials and stuff, you never put that stuff on there. You know,
I feel like I put that on there before. There was one.
I've seen.
5-0 and I had face masks on together, and I put it out there.
You ever got a pedicure? Yeah, I've got a pedicure with my wife. I didn't like.
I took 5-0 to get a pedicure.
Did he like it? Does he like people playing?
He liked it right up until I said, "Yeah, go ahead and put some clear polish on," and he was like, "I'm not doing that again. That's just weird."
See, I let my
His toes were too shiny.
I let my youngest daughter paint my toes. She thought that was pretty
I
cool.
love that.
Yeah,
I
she thought
love
it was
that.
pretty cool.
What color?
We went black.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
She was in a dark mood. She goes, "Dad, can I paint your toenails black?" I'm like, "Absolutely."
I think that's pretty fitting for you.
It is. It is. So, are you? This is a big day in Iowa. I mean, this is a huge day. Are you a bettor? Are you a sports fan? Or are you a bettor?
Neither.
Really?
I'm just kidding. Of course I'm a sports fan. I appreciate sports. I just don't really follow them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I was watching the 9 o'clock news last night. Who's your anchor on there?
Janae.
Yeah. You can tell she was clueless about sports.
Yeah.
She just turns and goes, "Big day in sports." It's a typical anchor move.
Right.
Big day in sports. Yeah, we'll be right back.
Yeah, what's going on in the sports world?
I mean, that's the typical main anchor keys to sports.
Either that or that's Erin had a clip going around last week where she looked at Keith and said, "I completely forgot what you told me you were talking about." That could also be, instead of just being that breathtakingly honest and saying, I forgot what you told me to say we were talking about. She just said, "Big day in sports," because it is every day, because I totally forgot what we're talking about next.
What you really should say is, listen, it's a big day in sports, but weather went long and we got to cut your 3 minutes.
Right,
to 2.5.
right. And this tease has already been.
This tease is too long already.
Yeah.
Sports? That's up next.
When I was on television, I always joked that I made more money than anybody per minute because I would sit there and work all day long.
Oh, yeah.
And they would cut my time. I'm like, "You realize you just paid me like $400 for 30 seconds.
That's crazy.
I know.
Realistically.
You're making it sound like we make a ton of money.
No, you will one day if you stick out with it. I mean, it comes along eventually. It's just, it just takes till you're like 45.
Oh, jeez. Maria Lizzignoli joining us. And you know who got me over that hump about, oh, my God, they cut your time again, was Curtis Gertz. Because he just looked at me and said, "Hey, buddy, are they paying you by the minute?" I said, "No." "Well, then that's great, right?"
Yeah, whatever.
As long as you're not getting your pay cut along with your time. And I'm like, that's a true statement.
Yeah.
So you're not a sports fan. But you went to Iowa State, right?
I did.
All right.
So I'm obviously an Iowa State fan.
Not a Minnesota fan? Not a Golden Gopher?
Sure, I'm a Gopher fan. You know, it's
You're
a little bit of
non-committal.
both. Hey, I live in two places. You know, Minnesota's so close I can go home.
Yeah.
But my home is Iowa. Truly, I do feel like Iowa is home, which is fun.
Nebraska.
They're both crying.
Oh, for crying out loud.
I don't like it. I don't have a choice.
Okay.
What am I going to do? Sell my house?
And
Sell
move
my
here?
kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm an empty nester, I
He's moving up.
got 2 more to go.
Give them the
I
RV.
got 2 more to go. I got 2 gone. I got 2 more to go.
No, 5-0 and I are getting the RV. Aunt Jeanette has already put the ixnay on me.
Well, you know, she said
Or is she coming around to...
No, she said we could get an RV if it was an Airstream.
Oh, so she's going to choose the most expensive one you can get.
Because she knows there's no way I'm dropping
no
$100 grand
possible way.
on a camper. So, all right, so you're going to be back out here for the ribbon cutting, or are you done? with that?
Not I. I have to go put my story together for tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be live at the fair with seals. So that's cool. There are seals this year at the fair.
I saw that, and I
Yeah.
want to go see that.
Right?
Those aren't barn
I was
animals.
trying to get those are not barn. I was also trying to get alligators to come play with me in the morning, but they didn't want to.
Alligators?
Yeah, they've got alligators at the fair.
How big are
too.
they?
Tiny.
Oh, okay.
But still,
There's still alligators.
not farm animals.
You ever been on a swamp tour down in Louisiana? That's a
No.
lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The gators down there are cool. So, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, of
good to
course,
meet
thank
you.
Yeah, good to meet you in person.
Yeah, sorry to
All right.
you kind of
I think
freaked
it
out
comes
in the
up here.
parking lot. Did you notice that?
I know they
Travis
came up
gives
and
me
they're
some
like, they're like, "Hey, come on inside." I'm like, "No, it's okay." Oh, it's you guys.
Yeah. She big time us for just a little second.
Ha.
We're nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Cool. 284-5966. Interact with us on Twitter at Kings in the Morning Rush. We'll be back. We got another interview. We're going to talk more gambling as Michael Grotsky from William Hill Sportsbook joins us on 1460 KXNO.
Continue the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. Search for 1460
Texas.
It's the Morning Rush with Travis Justice and Heather Burnside on Des Moines Sports Station 1460 KXNO.
Welcome back to the Morning Rush. We are live at the William Hill Sportsbook at Prairie, Meadows Casino. I'm Travis Justice. She's Heather Burnside. Yeah, we've had a lot of guests on today. We thank Mary Erickson for Prairie Meadows joining us. Scott Spreitzer joined us from Las Vegas. Maria Lizagoli to stop by and said hi. And nice girl. She's going places. She's good. Good. And now joining us on the WCI Pools and Spas Hotline, Michael Grotsky from the William Hill Sportsbook. And Michael, welcome to the Morning Rush, and congratulations. Sports betting at noon will be legal in the state of Iowa, or up and running, should we say.
Good morning, Travis and Heather. Thank you so much for having me on this morning. We are extremely excited to get this going. We're really happy for sports fans throughout the state that now they can get a little action on the games as they choose so at our new location at Prairie Meadows. We're really fired up.
What makes, when they start taking bets at noon, what makes this run seamlessly? I mean, people are probably wondering, how does this all work? How do you flip a switch and just make it go?
The awesome thing about it is we have this group of folks, some of our best ticket writers. We got great ticket writers all throughout the country. Some of our best ones from Nevada, West Virginia, and New Jersey that have been doing this for a good bit, have been here training on the ground with the team here. And the one thing we want to get across to everyone is we know that sometimes there's customers out there and sports fans out there that are really familiar with all the different types of sports wagers you can make and how you make them and what to do. But what really makes us different is we really welcome someone who is trying to learn about it a little bit and says, you know what, I got a feeling this game, might be a low scoring game. What's the best way I could bet something like that? Or, you know what, I really feel like, Iowa is going to cover, and I think they're going to keep it really close to this upcoming game, or they're going to win, by a good margin. What would be the best type of wager to put up for that, right? So I think, that's really the teams. And you're watching one game, and all of a sudden you hear cheering, and you got to find what the...
Is that Rev in the background?
Yeah,
Yes.
Ray's going. Are you ready?
I'm trying to keep busy, because if I sit here and people start staring at me, or I'll start freaking out, because I feel like, I'm missing out not being there with you guys, but then I got to make sure the show's running good, and then, I got these people with glasses staring at me and stuff, wearing, like, punk clothing. Just weird stuff happens.
Well, they are on an alternative station.
No, I know.
So what is the first bet that you make, Heather Burnside?
I was just thinking about this. It might be a futures bet on Iowa State and the Big 12.
Really? Nice.
Just saying, ain't my.
So you're going to bet with your heart at that point?
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
not going to be a huge bet.
No. I get that. Sean, what is going to be the first bet that you make?
As an honorary Nebraska fan now, I will be placing my money on Adrian Martinez.
Hey, I got Nebraska over South
He already talked
Alabama,
about this.
minus
Adrian
36.
Martinez is going to win a Heisman.
Sean, you crack me up.
Honorary Nebraska.
I don't know.
Did you see all the love I was getting from
know.
Nebraska fans yesterday?
No, I did
They're
not.
accepting me.
You're coming into the fold.
Yeah, you know how we were talking about how we should follow a random
I
team
think
this year?
this is-
Nebraska's my squad. Let's go.
This is a sign of desperation on the part of Husker fans that they have decided to embrace this interloper that's basically more trolling Iowa than being a Nebraska fan. Yeah, that's you, Sean.
GBR.
Oh, look at him. And I don't know what the first bet I will, because I'm done betting with my heart. I've done that, and I've lost money. So I probably will sit and analyze and make a more informed bet instead of, picking a future. Futures are fun. I get that. But, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure that I know what I'm betting and try to give myself a chance to win. So I wish I could sit here and say, I know what my first bet is going to be. I don't know that. But we do know that Heather's going to do a futures on Iowa State, In the Big 12, Sean's going to do a future on Adrian Martinez winning the Heisman Trophy. What are those odds right now, Sean?
They weren't
Even
great.
Downs is shaking his head looking at you.
Wait. Was that Ray? Is that Rev in the background?
Yeah,
Yes.
Ray, Ray's going. Ray knows. Here's what I know. Ray is one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. I mean, he should be at MIT because he can do ounces, grams, quarters, eighths, better than anybody else I know. And he knew exactly what he wanted to put on Iowa, $20. So 2845966. Interact with us on Twitter. Case the Morning Rush. We'll come back. We'll have Sean's Morning Dub, and we'll wrap up our 2-hour extravaganza and set up the rest of the day for you at the William Hill Sportsbook live at Prairie Meadows at 1460 KXNO. Would sit there and work all day long.
Oh, yeah.
And they would cut my time. I'm like, you realize you just paid me like $400 for 30.
You can sign up, start today. Not too familiar with how to download an app, or if you
say.
Good morning, Travis.
Said, hey, buddy, are they paying you by the minute? Considering she's from Minnesota, I thought she would have said
And Heather Burnside on Des Moines Sports Station, 1460 KXNO.
You know, when Maria Lizagoli first started 13, we gave her a hard time. You know, gave her a really hard time.
You did.
And she was a good sport.
Well, and
We tried to picture her. Yeah, I thought you were.
Thank you.
The slack from last year, but what I like about the hockey.
Back to your cream, like this girl shows she was such a good sport. She did come in the studio that one time, but that was
A couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We make things responsibly, like boxes that we make by recycling paper and other boxes, bringing eco-friendly shipments right to your doorstep. Coke, we make that. We also take responsibility by banning the criminal history box on job applications, giving a second chance to those who have served their time. A fresh start? We make that. See more at kochindustries.com. At Coke, our 67,000 U.S. At Coke, our 60.
But you know, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure that I know what I'm betting and try to give myself a chance to win. So I wish I could sit here and say I know what my first bet is going to be. I don't know that, but we do know that Heather's going to do a futures on Iowa State in the Big 12. Sean's going to do a future on Adrian Martinez winning the Heisman Trophy. What are those odds right now, Sean?
They weren't
Even
great.
Downs is shaking his head looking at you.
Wait. Was that Ray? Is that Rev in the background?
Yeah,
Yes.
That's right. Ray's going. Ray knows. Here's what I know. Ray is one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. I mean, he should be at MIT because he can do ounces, grams, quarters, eighths, better than anybody else I know. And he knew exactly what he wanted to put on Iowa, $20. So 2845966. Interact with us on Twitter. Case the Morning Rush. We'll come back. We'll have Sean's Morning Dub, and we'll wrap up our 2-hour extravaganza and set up the rest of the day for you at the William Hill Sportsbook live at Prairie Meadows at 1460 KXNO.
Continue the conversation on Facebook. Like 1460 Fair. It's the Morning Rush with Travis Justice and Heather Burnside on Des Moines Sports Station, 1460 KXNO. And now it's time for Sean's Morning Dump.
Heather and I do a good job of role playing, and that's what we're going to do. We are going to role play. So
It's kind of hot.
She was a furry.
Oh. Remember
I
when
can
you
say
signed
that
up for that
because Philo's
website?
sitting right. Yeah, you signed up to be a furry.
Yep.
Or was that an S&M website you
I
signed
thought
up?
it was to be
Huh.
a furry.
all of them.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
It was both of them.
Yeah.
At
It was
once.
uncomfortable.
Anyway, good morning, honey.
Hey, I was wondering what was going on when I went to bed last night.
Oh, yes. The cat was kissing me.
This isn't getting weird at all. Travis spent the night
I
at our house.
almost used the
My
other
God.
term for the cat, but I probably would have.
Ah!
Hey,
So do you guys got room for me on Sunday?
Heck yeah.
You're going to spend the night at Sunday
I
again?
think so. Yeah, on the couch.
Yeah. Sure.
You look so disappointed.
Well, I thought you were. This is like your company corporate synergy.
Yeah, I
thing.
got
they
a
were-
hotel on Monday night.
Oh, but they're not including the hotel on Sunday night.
No, because the meeting doesn't start till 10. But I thought, well, I might as well come up and do the show. It's either I don't do the show on Monday or I come up and spend the night with you.
Okay, spend the night. The couch is waiting for you.
I like the couch. The couch is comfortable.
That couch is comfortable.
Yeah.
Hey guys, quick question
So
for you.
my question.
We had a caller call in. And I don't know if you guys will know this. Are there
We know everything.
are there going to be blackout restrictions as far as TVs go? There are they going to are games going to be blacked out possibly? That they say
I
can't
don't
sit
know
there
the
and
answer to
watch.
that.
We don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
That's what I
I don't
figured.
know
That's
the
what I
answer to
told
that.
him,
So
but-
that's a good question, and that's something we can tell either Miller Condon to ask or Murph and Andy to ask or Sports Fanatics. But that's a very, very good question, and I guarantee before the end of this day you'll have that answer. 5-0, can we officially say that today ends all undercover stings on illegal gambling activity in the state of Iowa, like on the south side?
No.
And by the way, apparently all gambling is
South side,
handled by
motherfucker.
bookies off, the record.
It's on the
under
south
the
side.
table or on the south side. So just go there. Don't bother to look anywhere else.
That's a big myth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
it
it's a
is
fun
a big
one
mess.
to spread out.
But
I think some of those guys down there keep it rolling themselves. Too.
yeah, they keep it real. They fucking A.
Exactly. They keep it rolling themselves. So that's a good way to put it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
there are going to be a lot of people who are out of their side job today. I'm just saying, not everybody, but I'm just saying, a lot of the street guys are going to be.
I don't think they're sweating it. They're pretty versatile.
You think so?
They're going to find something to do.
They can switch. They can switch. But I tell you what, KXNO is going to be here all day long. So Miller and Condon will be doing their show from 10 until noon. Murph and Andy will be here from 2 until 4, and then the Sports Fanatics 4 to 6. 4 to 6. So iHeartRadio and KXNO has this thing covered by like a blanket. So you can cast your first. You cast a bet? No, you place your first bet. You cast
a ballot.
Yeah, you can't.
Or a
Look at
line.
Ross Peterson walking in. He goes, "I'll come see you later today," and now I'm leaving like right now. Oh, for 1 minute. For 1 minute. Your place.
Actually, you have about 30 seconds.
Ross be big timing.
At 11:30. That's open to the public. Your first bet can be placed at 12 noon.
You know you made it when you get big time by Ross.
Legalized sports betting starts today. Bet responsibly. Bet with your head, not with your heart.
Okay, after this first bet, I'll bet with my head.
And we'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Talk to you then. Later.